Hello, this is an Astroneer experiment video where I mess around with fireworks and find out some interesting things about how the game works. So the first thing I did was set up a continuous firework launcher by using a button repeater and delay repeater feeding back into itself, activating a plant form with a plinth that constantly generates fireworks. You can build one of these in Creative. And activating it. And so here we see our continuous stream of fireworks, and it's very interesting because there does not appear to be any randomness at all in the fireworks. They're going up in a consistent line, and yeah, there's no randomness at all to their flight path. So I've seen a couple of people put them on the front of vehicles, so I figured I'd try that too. And it turns out that you can't activate the fireworks. I'm activating the front of the vehicle here and it's doing nothing. So I set up a button repeater going back into the medium rover and then activated it again, and oh my god, that was very crazy. This is going insane. And I don't know if you can tell, but it turns out fireworks are actually solid. And at some point during this, I'm actually driving on the fireworks. So that was a bit crazy. I switched out the button repeater for a delay repeater, and that calmed things down a bit. And it was much more fun to drive around in this thing. You can definitely see that the fireworks are hitting the ground. So again, they're solid objects, which is an interesting game mechanic. Next, I flipped our continuous launcher sideways and started it up. And it does appear that there's some sort of calculation on the part of the fireworks because they seem to want to go up. So while there isn't any randomness, there's definitely some sort of calculation trying to curve them up here. I set up another button repeater combo to increase the speed at which these are firing, and then everything went crazy. So there's so many fireworks that they're hitting each other, bouncing off each other and just going every which way. It's still fascinating to me that the game is actually modeling the fireworks as a solid object. I also wanted to check out if fireworks are actually explosives. So they don't damage the ground, but could they actually explode anything? So here's some dynamite and hydrogen, and we're just going to put them in the path of the explosion, and nothing. It doesn't really seem to be exploding them. And since they're solid objects, I figured what would happen if they hit the Astroneer. And they bounce off of them. So you can technically block fireworks. Soil also blocks fireworks. Created a little wall here. And they just all hit the wall and explode. And so finally, I figured I'd launch a bunch of fireworks off a flying shuttle. And I tried attaching the backpack plinth directly to the shuttle and activating it with a button repeater, but it turns out the shuttle isn't an activatable object. Whereas with the vehicles, you can attach a segment pin to them and they'll activate anything on the vehicle. So I decided to go with storage sensors attached to the shuttle with button repeaters on top of them, and then the fireworks plinths on top of that. This allowed me to set up a giant ring of fireworks and start it up. Again, I'm surprised the game isn't slowing down at this point. So when we launch, it's very interesting that the fireworks launch at a constant speed, not relative to you. So all the fireworks are going flying backwards and you can barely see them as we're launching. And once we get into orbit, they're just shooting off into the path we're taking because we're going much, much faster than the fireworks are going. It does look very pretty though. But then I figured I'd go to a different planet, and this is where I find the most interesting thing actually happened. So if you go into solar system view, you can actually see the fireworks. You may need to put this in full screen, but you can see the fireworks exploding as we're orbiting the planet. And that's just amazing to me that the game would actually model stuff like that at this distance. Very impressive. So, what's it look like when we travel to a different planet with exploding fireworks? Well, they stop exploding. And it turns out traveling to a different planet resets all our wiring. So I rebuilt the wiring, started launching again, started orbiting the moon, and again, going back into the solar system view, you can see the fireworks going off as we're orbiting. I mean, this is way beyond the render distance, but they're still doing the calculations to figure out where those fireworks are, which I think is very impressive. So that concludes my experiments with fireworks. What I've learned is they're solid objects, they're not explosive, and you can see their explosions from the solar system view, which I find very impressive. And that's it. If you liked the video, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.